We want change. We want change. We want change. We want change. We want a change.
The sound magician. Wi-Fi on the beat, boy.
Twakupele voting atawa bomba Twakupele voting atawa bomba Tawali mone voting atawa bomba Tawali mone voting atawa bomba Bantuno mwaka Kuya bebele Twanakane mwe Mwachila mobufi Kuya bebele Kwa mwenele numa Kuya bebele Mwachila mobufi Walitula ile ona lebwa timukesa tupangira kwemisebo Walimepele nebo timukesa tupangira kwemisebo Nimwewo mwachile mukesa tupulila nechipatala ifwe Nimwewo mwachile mukesa tupulila na masukulu kuno Ukutula potwa misalila ifwe Walitula baona lebo Imisebwala ya jonaika Ichipatala takwaba kuno Abana besu basambilila mufi mutifya mango Bana mayo mapapira mungande Zipatala takwaba kuno Imisepila chose malofwa Bapepa pyebange Fama lelilo mufunda tawafika Nembu tota shafika Ukutula potwa misalila ifwe Walitula baona lebo Nomba lelo mwabwela imwe Mulefwa ya tumivotere Twakupele voting atawa bomba Twakupele voting atawa bomba Tawali mone voting atawa bomba Tawali mone voting atawa bomba Pantuno mwaka Kuya bebele Twanakane mwe Mwachila mobufi Kuya bebele Kwa mwenele numa Kuya bebele Mwachila mobufi Kuno mwaka tulefa ya bakutubombela Nota bakwisa kuno mukuzembereka Mukutwibila mano nga twabavotela abaya Nangu mwatupele ndalama tulepo katatwa nivotere Nido ntikubeba wapoka waya Nido ntikubeba wapoka waya Ababina chimwe na mwekole uko bafuma balilaba Bayi kutapiza bala boko bafuma Bayi kutapai bala bati bakabwela Baja chikini nena mabanu inapana kaso Wala onalebo mulabeja Ukutula potwa misalila ifwe Walitula baonalebo Nomba lelo mwabwela imwe Mulefwa ya tumivotere Twakupele voting atawa bomba Twakupele voting atawa bomba Tawali mone voting atawa bomba Tawali mone voting atawa bomba Pantuno mwaka Kuya bebele Twanakane mwe Mwachila mobufi Kuya bebele Kwa mwenele numa Kuya bebele Mwachila mobufi Pantuno mwaka Kuya bebele Twanakane mwe Mwachila mobufi Kuya bebele Kwa mwenele numa Kuya bebele Mwachila mobufi Pantuno mwaka Twanakane mwe
The sound magician.
Good day, and on this auspicious day, Monday, we bring you yet another EMV podcast. Share the broadcast. We're going to discuss some very fundamental issues and give you information of what's happening in the electoral process as we go closer to holding the general elections that is due on 13th August 2026. However, the process is starting far much earlier. And today, we review a sinister move to bar presidential candidates, some presidential candidates. So share the broadcast and you'll be able to call us on 0973078082. In the studios, I am privileged to host Chumba, a Lusaka businessman and is a political activist. We'll get into that briefly. I will first start with my monologue for the day, which is my statement that there are sinister activities to attempt to bar certain presidential candidates, especially independent presidential candidates. So when we come back, I do the monologue, then we invite my dear brother, Chumbaka Oma. You understand who he is. He tells us a little bit about himself. He gives us various opinions about the state of the country. And then we open phone lines for you to participate in the debate. Remember, this is your program. So just tell us if volume is okay, visuals are okay, and if everything is okay. We'll be back just in a while. I do the monologue, then I introduce my special guest. Then we invite you to participate in today's debate.
We want change! We want change! We want change! We want change! We want a change!
The sound magician. Wi-Fi on the beat, boy.
Twakupele voting atawa bomba Twakupele voting atawa bomba Tawali mone voting atawa bomba Tawali mone voting atawa bomba Bantuno mwaka Kuya bebele Twanakane mwe Mwachila mobufi Kuya bebele Kwa mwenele numa Kuya bebele Walitula ile ona lebwa timukesa tupangira kwemisebo Walimipele nevoti atimukesa tupangira kwemisebo Nimwewo mwatile mukesa tupulila nechupatala ifwe Nimwewo mwatile mukesa tupulila na masukulu kuno Ukutula potwa misalila ifwe Walitula baona lebo Imisebo ala yagyonaika Ichupatala takwaba kuno Abana besu basambilila mufimuti vya mango Bana mayo mapapira mungande Zipatala takwaba kuno Imisepila chose malofwa Bapepa vyevange Fama lelilo mufunda tawafika Nembuto tashafika Ukutula potwa misalila ifwe Mwalitula baona lebo Nomba lelo mabwela imwe Mulefwa ya tumivotire Twakupele voting atawa bomba Twakupele voting atawa bomba Tawali mone voting atawa bomba Tawali mone voting atawa bomba Pantuno mwaka Kuya bebele Twanakane mwe Mwachila mobufi Kuya bebele Kwa mwenele numa Kuya bebele Mwachila mobufi Kuno mwaka tulefwa ya baku tubombela Nota bakwisa kuno mukuzembereka Mukutwibila mano nga twabavotela baya Nangu mwatupele ndalama tulepo kata twamivotele Nidoti kubeba wapoka waya Nidoti kubeba wapoka waya Ababina chimu na mwekole uko bafuma balilaba Bayi kutapiza bala boko bafuma Bayi kutapai
Thank you very much for joining us. We start with developments. Newly elected party president Makebi Zulu from the Patriotic Front has made his first, move since he took over the party. He has a central committee that is led by himself and Vice President Given Lubinda. So he has made his first appointment to that central committee where there are vacancies. He appointed former Permanent Secretary for Western Province, PS Daniel Bukali. Let me just look at the names quickly. Daniel Bukali was PS Western Province. He has appointed an aspirant for Katuba constituency and media expert Isaac Insoneka. He has appointed Mr. Kenneth C. Mola, Dr. Alex Luando, Mr. Rizwan Patel. You remember Rizwan Patel? He was arrested with me. He's a very strong activist from Eastern Province. and Mr. Max Kapanta. Later, Makebi Zulu made further announcement. He announced that he's lifting all suspensions in the party. Remember, the party has been rocked by divisions, suspensions, and expulsions. And he has put a moratorium to any expulsion. And he has invited those that were rendered expelled to get in touch with the Secretariat and express interest to come back, and the Secretariat will process their return. And he has also made about 5 appointments. He has appointed prominent author, playwright, and social activist, Mlenga Kapwepwe. She's not known to be a politician. She's a cultural activist, author, writer, playwright, and so she's coming in to the Central Committee, very powerful lady, Mlenga Kapwepwe. He has appointed former DMMU National Coordinator and member of the Central Committee, Chanda Kabwe, as chairperson for national mobilization, and he has tasked Chanda Kabwe to immediately get in touch with the provincial and district structures and complete the process that was started by Honorable Given Luvinda to pick candidates that should stand in the 2026 elections. He has appointed media expert Nachili Machisala and Mrs. Kangwa Puta from Mundola. These were the developments you'll be asking on what party. Well, the PF, of course. We understand the PF is contested. The Mao Sampa recently scored major legal victory where the party has been handed over to him. You have another set of 2 defendants, Morgan Ingona and Robert Chabinga, who claim that they subsequently fired Mao Sampa and it is their party. Mao Sampa has just won. One of the major cases was a decision to fire Morgan Ingona. And Morgan Ingona was fired before he and Chabinga sat to allegedly expel Mao Sampa. So Mao Sampa as an upper hand, the party has been given to him, but there are 3 defendants, Morgan Ingona and Robert Chabinga. And he has won another legal case where he fired Morgan Ingona before Morgan Ingona took the subsequent actions. The PF elected its president, who is Makebi Zulu. So there has to be reconciliation between Makebi Zulu and Mao Sampa. So far, they are working together, and Mao Sampa holds a party position in the Makebi Zulu administration. But with this new light, we will see how they will resolve this issue. Currently, the Mao Sampa can't take charge of the party because there are 2 injunctions restraining him. So one in Kabwe and the other one in the Court of Appeal. What are we talking about today? Today, I am putting it to you that there is a sinister plot to bar presidential candidates, especially those that wish to stand on independent. You have heard many people saying, Nanguchiwe PF, our candidate, will be on as an independent. Nanguchiwe, our candidate, Nangmuchitefi, our candidate, FDD will be on independent. There are developments there. And I thought that I could have let the country, we begin this debate, and you, as active citizenry, you begin the process to pressure our government that we hold it accountable to hold democratic, credible, transparent, free and fair elections. All those principles requires that you remove all the hurdles that could be standing in anyone that wishes to stand as an independent or wishes to stand under a political party. So what is happening? There is a qualifications that are pronounced, I think, in Article 35 of the Republican Constitution and Article 100 of who can become president. So there are things like that you shouldn't be declared bankrupt, that you should be a Zambian national, born in Zambia, that you are resident in Zambia subsequently for the last 5 years, that you shouldn't have criminal conviction, that you shouldn't have been declared bankrupt by any court of law. How does the system establish that? In the past, they established that through political parties, because political parties submit registrar to the registrar the list of office bearers, and then the police will clear these processes. They'll pick your fingerprints, check that you have no criminal record. Then, it will be thrown to the intelligence, who will check that you've not been declared bankrupt, that you are truly born in Zambia. They have to go to your village, ask your chief's village and people around you. So the political parties process clears that. So we understand that ECZ, with the electoral calendar it has issued, ECZ is saying it is not possible that they can clear independence using the few days that they've given. When you file in those papers for independence, who have not been cleared by the Registrar of Societies, because those that will appear under the political party have been cleared by the police, the system, and at the registrar. The independents will appear and express their interest to stand as presidential candidates for the first time. For members of parliament, the requirements are quite, other than that you're a Zambian, you just produce your NRC and that suffices, then, because it's not, then you'll have obtained pre-qualification documents, such as the clearance at the Zambia Qualification Authority. Such, if you pay taxes, you must have gotten the clearance from ZRA and from the local authority if you pay all your taxes with the local authority. So parliamentary candidates and councillors usually get those pre-qualifications in advance. For presidential candidates, the provisions are stipulated in the Constitution. And now we understand that ECZ and the Registrar of Societies will allege that there is no time. For fingerprints, you require 21 days. So they'll file in and they'll give 4 days in which to declare successfully filed candidates. Fingerprints, you need 21 days. The police will tell you, you can't rush us. We have up to 21 days. The OP, to clear your records at various high courts, Ndola, Livingstone, Kitwe, Lusaka, Chipata, that you don't have, you have not been declared bankrupt. To declare that you are Zambian, they have to send people to your village to establish your nationality. The system requires minimum, we understand, 30 days. So there will be those hurdles. Then there are various issues that will require interpretation by ECZ. For example, can a Zambian national stand as an independent? It will be the first time it's happening. And we understand that ECZ will throw that question to the Attorney General for clearance. And the Attorney General. These things we are talking about is not to alarm any candidate, is to prepare you. This is to prepare you. You understand what they are plotting and planning. They said the Mingalato will be heightened. They said the Mingalato will be higher than you've seen in the past. This is what you will say. My dear brother, Kelvin Fubebwalia, has been talking about the Tanzanian formula. He issued a statement, I think, when he was on Christian Voice, where he alleged that the Electoral Commission had sent its team to Tanzania to understand how the elections were run in Tanzania. Remember what happened in Tanzania. So if we have to follow the Tanzanian formula, it's even very alarming. Because there's been systematic oppression of all oppositions and critics, just like in Zambia. There've been arrests, there've been abductions. There has been political exclusion by banning the major opposition parties in Tanzania, like it is happening to the Patriotic Front in Zambia. This was to guarantee President Hassan's victory. You must remember that 10 years ago, when John Magufuli won, it was the lowest share of the vote that the ruling party was ever holding. Just like all liberation movements that became political parties and are ruling parties, whether it's Frelimo in Mozambique, whether it's MPLA in Angola, whether it's the ANC in South Africa, whether it's SWAPO in Namibia, whether it is Chama Pinduzi in Tanzania, they are rapidly in decline because there's a new generation of young people that do not appreciate the benefits and the role of their liberation movements and their leaders. And remember, the warriors and soldiers in the liberation movements, in many cases, make very bad leaders. They were good at waging the war to get freedom or independence, but they quickly descend to either autocracy, corruption, and the system just breaks down. So they are in total decline. And in 2015, John Magufuli scored 58.46%, and Edward Lowassa from Chadema scored 39.9%. In Tanzania, CCM, Chama Pinduzi, is used to winning by 90%, 96%, 85%. So this was a threat, and that is why this time she didn't take any chances. And you saw what happened. The candidate from Chadema was banished. This was the largest opposition party in Tanzania. They were banned, and another political party were banned, and Tundu Lissu, who was the leader of the opposition in Tanzania, was given a suspicious and fictitious treason charge. He remains in prison, and he was excluded from election. And then, Dr. Samia Suluhu Hassan then proceeded to win by over 90%, 99%, But KBF and others are saying, pay attention to what happened in Tanzania. The playbook is being rolled out in Zambia. And I probably agree with him. Let's just take briefly what is happening in our political parties. The story of the PF, split into three. Chabinga, the main PF, by now Makebi Zulu, and then Mal Sampa. You know the story of how they used institutions such as the police, registrar of society, and parliament to disintegrate the PF. The story is known, and the role of the state in it. It doesn't matter how many times Winter Kabimba says it is not from the state, it's internal wrangles. These internal wrangles are paused by the state itself. Let's look at recent events again. NCP. Pastor Peter Chanda of Christian Faith Mission, who's also president of the National Congress Party, they hold a general conference and they adopt Makebi Zulu, who was a presidential candidate in the Patriotic Front. They pick him. First, they elect Peter Chanda as president, and then they adopt a presidential candidate in Makebi Zulu. And you saw early this month, March 6th, a guy called Daniel Nyati says he's NCP vice president, and he announces to the country that they've disciplined Pastor Peter Chanda and that the Registrar of Society has been gracious enough to make amendments and remove Peter Chanda as president of the NCP. He even announces that this was indiscipline because he chose a presidential candidate that was outside and was not a member of the PF. Daniel, who was purporting, Daniel Nyati, who was purporting to be vice president in NCP, is not vice president. The party has a constitution, the party has procedures, but the Registrar of Societies disregarded all that and removed Peter Chanda. Of course, Peter Chanda said this is illegal, it's null and void, but the changes have already been made at the Registrar of Societies. And to cause the amendments, the Attorney General comes in, and it's a long, prolonged battle. It has taken the PF almost 4 years to correct that matter. Here, recently over the weekend, a gentleman called Arthur Msukwa held a general conference and he was elected as NDC president. Now, you and I know that the NDC president is Sabo Imboila. The police proceeded before this so-called general conference to summon and issue a warning and caution to Sabo Imboila that she had breached the Electoral Process Act of 2016, Section 18(1)(b) and 2, that her actions were contrary to 356 of the Penal Code of the Laws of Zambia, Chapter 57, and that she had signed adoption certificate for a candidate in Chawama when she was not president and her Secretary General was not SG. So other than criminalizing Savoy, they've proceeded to hold a general conference that has purported to replace Savoy Imboela. Dr. Sebastian Komplande, with his People's Party, he has suffered the same fate. He woke up one evening, he was told that there's a general conference taking place on Ali Kinkata Road for the party that he is and is a presidential candidate. And he was told that former office holders of that party, Carlson Chingwengweze and Agnes Kawandami, had held an extraordinary general conference, and he was removed as president of the People's Party. Dr. Sebastian Copeland rushed to the High Court and is contesting his removal, that there was no legitimacy, it was unconstitutional, and these people didn't follow the constitution. But again, it just becomes a legal issue. He has been deplatformed, just like Peter Chanda. The other day, you had similar identical maneuvers to Zambia We Want, and this National Leadership Council. So the president, Engineer Kapembwa Simbao, the national chairperson, Dr. Ozilia, Sister Ozilia Wupe Ponga, and the Secretary General Muhabi Lungu were also ousted. Petitioners alleged, led by Henry Kanema, alleged that they had conducted themselves in an undisciplined manner and they were therefore removed. So here, Muhabi Lungu, of course, has said this is state-sponsored. It's an activity to remove him and the others from positions of responsibility. On the independence candidate, let me emphasize that is a story that ECZ will let you file, then they'll submit to the police your fingerprints. Police takes 21 days. To the intelligence, I think it takes 30 days to clear your nationality and issues of bankruptcy. If you've lived in Zambia, a researcher has to come at passport office and immigration to establish when you last traveled to Zambia to understand that you've been resident in Zambia for the last 5 years. They are going to use administrative and legal provision to bar independent candidates, because there are a lot of independent candidates that are hoping that if they have been deplatformed, for example, Makebi Zulu or Dr. Sebastian Copeland or John Sangwa, whose party hasn't been registered yet, or any of these colleagues that are currently in limbo, and that they will stand on independent. That is the news that I brought to you. Why do I bring this news to you? To prepare. Are there legal processes we can undertake to compel ECZ that it doesn't engage in these processes? Can they, for example, begin the pre-clearance process so that the candidates, by the time they are filing in, their papers will have been cleared? There's something the opposition can do. Nalanda sana ninkwata abeni muno munganda ababeni niba Chumba Kauma. Let me introduce my dear brother. My dear brother, welcome to today's program. Sorry I had to mix it with my analysis, but this was very urgent and we just couldn't hold you exclusively. I had to start with that, then come to you. How are you?
I'm fine, Ambassador. Good evening.
Good evening, good evening. Just tell Zambians who Kauma Chumba is before we get into details.
Chumba Kauma mwana wa Kunsherenge, a bona fide Zambian citizen. I was born in Cherenge, Parapa District Hospital. Abafiashi bandu bakwa munkanda kukawambwa. I did my primary education in Lusaka. I think I've lived most of my childhood in Lusaka. I did my secondary school in Cherenge. That's where I completed. Then I came back to Lusaka, and I was at the Lusaka Business and Technical College for a few years until I ventured into business. So now I'm a businessman and politician, strong member of the Patriotic Front, bona fide member. And it's an honor and indeed a privilege to join you, Ambassador. Thank you so much.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. For those joining us, we are discussing the role of ECZ in this election and the Registrar of Societies. Bachomba, just give me your thoughts about what I've just stated.
I think I'll start with the ECZ issue and the independent candidates, those that want to vie for presidency. You see, the Electoral Commission of Zambia are coming into the general election. Basically, I think most of these opposition colleagues should have started rehearsing with the Electoral Commission of Zambia, I think sometime last year. Most of these colleagues that formed political parties and those that feel they will run as independent, those that feel they will run on political parties, I think the Electoral Commission of Zambia has been undertaking some reforms. Like you might be aware, now most political parties are changing their constitutions so that they can accommodate alliances. Like I'll give you an example. You saw the FDD, they recently held a convention, one, to change the constitution so that they can allow other members that have joined through recognized alliances to participate and stand on their ticket. Because if you look at most of the constitutions that these political parties we have submitted to the Registrar of Societies, they don't talk about alliances. There are a few that have recognized alliances and getting a presidential candidate outside the party. I'll give an example of Article 43 of the FDD Constitution. That is that is if it has not been amended, which talks about the functions of the president. It clearly states that the president alone shall contest the elections as flag bearer in a general election. It does not talk about anything to do with an alliance. It talks about the functions of the president. And again, it prescribes how a president is chosen. A president must be a member of the party. So the conundrum now that we have, and that most of these political parties are facing now, is that their constitutions were drawn on a traditional election path, where we just wait after 5 years, we participate in an election, the winner is announced, the losers, just like that. Now, for the first time, we are having alliances. And those alliances also, if registered, they are coming with their own constitutions. Of course, those constitutions are supposed to be recognized and scrutinized by the Registrar of Societies. So that's where much of the problem seems to be. When you talk about the coming to the issue of these independent candidates, that you are looking at time as a factor that the Electoral Commission of Zambia could use to disqualify most of them. I think if that is a technicality which you have noticed now as a political player, we should be able to start putting it in writing to the Electoral Commission of Zambia now, so that those that feel they want to go as independent candidates can avoid the blame game, but either put it in writing and put across all these arguments looking at time, because you've stated the time which the intelligence needs, you've stated the time needs. Yeah, so the Electoral Commission of Zambia right now should be overwhelmed with inquiries. coming from individuals that want to stand as independent candidates. Because this is a technicality which we've noticed. And instead of mere speculating, I don't like speculations. I'm not going to speculate that it's a technicality that they are going to use. What if tomorrow they say we have enough resources and time for us to be able to clear those candidates within 1 month? And I think this is an election, and there should be a bit of collectivity in the way these government bodies should handle the candidates. So I'm not going to speculate that the Electoral Commission of Zambia might fail. Yes, it is a technicality that has come up now, but we need those candidates now to engage the commission in writing so that we look at the responses that are going to come out. Have they officially said they are going to fail? You get my point, Ambassador?
Yes.
Yeah. Then I want to come to the issue of I think there seems to be an outbreak of parallel general conferences that have been happening. I'll end with the PF. Let me start with the NCP. I know Danny Onyati on a personal level through obviously, yeah, Pastor Peter Chanda, who is a very close friend of mine and someone I respect very much. I was also shocked to learn about that general conference that Danny Onyati held, and apparently has kicked out and dislodged Pastor Peter Chanda, which I've not seen officially from the Registrar of Societies. Because according to Pastor Peter Chanda, Danny Onyati is not a recognized office bearer by the Registrar of Societies. I'm aware of a printout where he was acting as Secretary General. I don't know if that's the printout which is still at the Registrar of Societies. So that issue is an internal wrangle within the NCP. And I'm not going to preempt and point fingers at the ruling party because they equally have their own issues. We've seen one of their long-term members who's gone ballistic is gone to court saying the current office bearer's term of office expired. And we've seen a memo coming from the UPND saying that they are going to hold a convention. So I think they equally have their own issues which they are looking at administratively. We've seen the removal of the chairperson for elections, my good brother, Honorable Gary Nkombo. So coming to, I want to talk about political parties that I'm familiar with. I'm not familiar with the politics of the NDC, where Madam Savoy was dislodged. Let me talk about the Patriotic Front. The wrangles in the Patriotic Front, you need to understand why I think we are being economical with the truth, even when we say the Patriotic Front has been given back. I think we are being economical. First of all, let us understand how these wrangles started. These wrangles, they date back as late as 2015. You know, obviously, that as late as 2015, there was a Mao Sampa camp which was very strong. I was with you, Ambassador, on that campaign trail, and you saw what happened. You saw what we went through. You are very familiar with that camp. We had the famous cartel where Mao Sampa was, and we had the camp where we belong to, all of us, the camp led by the late former president, may he so rest in peace, President Edgar Chagwalungu. Now, when the Patriotic Front won the elections in 2015, I think those wounds, they never healed. You see, that space of wrangles, it had created ideas in people, and it was just a volcano which was waiting to erupt one day. And it saw a vacancy, and it saw space and chance to erupt when Mao Sampa called for that convention. This is a convention that was called by one of our members who actually paid the participation fee in the said convention that was due to take place. The convention delayed. We had no office bearers. People were just acting in these positions. Honorable Nixon Chilangwa was acting Deputy Secretary General. We had Honorable Rafael Nakachinda then being appointed as Secretary General. But if these office positions had expired, I'll tell you that all those appointments that were made to the neck and all those appointments that were made at the highest level, they were all illegal. We should have gone to the convention immediately when we lost power. That would have given us at least room to reorganize the party and have a new leader. But we allowed for people to start thinking about the 2015 situation. There we saw the birth of Mbappe, who scored serious own goals in the Patriotic Front net. And today, we are saying we had a convention last week which elected President Makebi Zulu as president of the Patriotic Front. Now, Ambassador, I beg to differ there when you say that convention was legal. To me, I think it was illegal because even the same Mao Samba has called it illegal. Mao Samba was saying he was waiting for the court judgment, which came out obviously, and it validated the illegal convention which he called. Now, after that illegal convention, he kicked out Ngona, who in return kicked him out. Now, there's a pending court appeal of that case which Mao Samba won, where the judge says he was right to kick out Ngona. The judge is yet to adjudicate on Mao Samba's being kicked out by Honorable Chavinga and the said Ngona. You know, we need to be serious as a party because looking at the time left to elections, we can't continue hanging on to a trend that is yet to take off. We are hanging on to a dream that one day the court will sit and say, we've given you back the Patriotic Front. Mao Sampa, you are the president. Go with your people. Go and reconcile. That is not, I'm not seeing that happening. Because every time we celebrate, there's an appeal in the courts of law. Every time we seem to move forward, there's an appeal in the courts of law. Now there's multiplicity of cases. We have cases just coming in from the back door. This one appeals. Today, this one wins. I think this is going to continue and it's going to find us. And if you're not careful, come 13th August, we'll be pointing fingers at each other. We'll continue pointing fingers at the UPND. The UPND are going to hold a convention. They will elect their leader. They will go to their elections with their leader. While we are going to continue fighting in court. For now, I expect that. Sure.
Thank you very much. Dear viewers, I'm so sorry for those watching on my page. I don't know what happened, but for all those watching on the other platforms, we seem to be okay. But on my page, for one reason or another, I don't know, it just got switched off. So I'm sorry about those that are watching, but we are back online. Share the broadcast for those that could be looking it elsewhere. Those that are watching us on other pages and YouTube, X, and TikTok, they were not affected, but only those that were watching on my page were affected. Let me just repeat what we are saying because some didn't seem to have gotten. First, I've got a guest in Chobaka Oma, a political activist and businessman in Lusaka, is helping me with today's analysis. What are we analyzing? For the sake of my audience on my page, my main page, and they were missing, and please share the broadcast quickly so that we alert everyone that everything is okay, because I seem to have lost an audience on my page. But quickly share the broadcast and let's get the ball rolling. I'm asserting today that there are plans to bar independent candidates. We've never had presidential candidates who are independent. We've had parliamentary and councillors or independents as council chairperson or mayor that can vie for those positions. We've never had a provision for presidential candidates who could be independent. But when you look at the 2016 amendments of our constitution, in the past, it used to say you have to be sponsored by a political party. So it made it mandatory that to participate in presidential candidates, as a presidential candidate, you needed to be sponsored by a political party. Now that particular provision is there, but it doesn't bar any other person that would like to go as an independent. Many experts say presidential candidates can participate as independents. That loophole is being entertained by many candidates that find themselves deplatformed. For example, a candidate from the Patriotic Front locked in legal wrangles, and they may not end until beyond 2026 elections. New people like John Sangwa, for example, whose political party have not been registered, or people that have been deplatformed, like Dr. Sebastian Copeland and others, would wish that they go as independents. And there are many Zambians that are not associated with any political party, but wish to govern this country, and they've seen the route for an independent. This is where we have seen what is being called the Tanzanian formula being applied. And to be a presidential candidate, you need to be a Zambian by birth or descent. You should have lived in Zambia ordinarily for over 5 years. You have to have been a resident in Zambia. In fact, it says 20 years. I don't know how they will interpret that. Of course, you have to be above 35 years old. You have to be a registered voter. You have to have obtained minimum grade 12 qualifications. That you just get qualification from the Qualification Authority, a certificate. You have to be fluent in English. This is a funny one. Now, you have to pay taxes, both local and national taxes, and you have to produce your payment of taxes or your tax clearance certificate. You should declare your assets and liabilities. Then you pay the prescribed fee. It was 100,000 kwacha last time. Will it be 200,000 kwacha? I don't know. Then you have to be supported by 100 supporters from each province. Then you have to sign a duly completed affidavit form. You have to bring a letter of certificate of adoption if you are sponsored by a political party. You have to file in duly completed nomination forms. If you're an aspiring candidate, you submit pictures, and you do the various declarations in compliance with the Electoral Code of Conduct. And then you should have a duly qualified running mate that also should go through this, because a running mate is a potential president. So where are they attempting to disrupt the role of the independents? We understand for political parties, presidents, to be allowed to sit on the register under the office of the registrar. The system clears you. Your fingerprints, 21 days. Other things, whether you have not been bankrupted, you are a national, a Zambian, either by descent or by birth, those processes require up to 30 days. We understand by the system that does that particular role. Why will this be used against independent candidates? If you look at the electoral calendar that has been issued by the ECZ, it looks like ECZ may plead that it's not up to us, it's up to these systems to clear you. And their calendar has said, immediately you file in, between 4 or 5 days, they are going to declare who the successful candidates are. The reason I'm bringing this matter is for our citizens to be very active, our leaders that wish to participate as independent, to pressure ECZ. ECZ, if your intentions are clear, are honest, and you don't want to bar anyone, you want to conduct a democratic, credible, transparent, free and fair election, I think the time to start is now, so that both processes at the Attorney General, at the Zambia Police, and through the system clears this candidate, and that it's not used as an excuse to bar candidates. For political parties, we've seen an attack. National Congress Party, Pastor Peter Chanda, deplatformed, removed. We have seen Zambia, the Poor People's Party, Sebastian Copeland, same thing, removed. We have seen recently by proposed changes that are occurring at the Zambia We Want, where the main actors, the chairperson, Dr. Auxilia Ponga, has been removed, and engineer Kapembwa Simbawa's presidential candidate and Moabi Lungwa Secretary General. Of course, the legitimate owners, like we did as PF, we said, look, these actions are illegal, they are null and void, but they were not, because the state was participating in this process. And even the courts of law didn't become guarantors to this process. Let me come back to Kaoma. I was doing this for my audience that is on my personal page. I understand there was a mishap. I was quickly alerted, and they are back online. You can just share the broadcast as we speak. I've got a guest, Chumba Kaoma. Chumba, let me just come back to you. You have just stated on our brother Mao Sampa and Mao Sampa and Morgan Ngona. Here are the sequence of events. Of course, he held an extraordinary general conference on 24th October 2023. 4 days later, President Edgar Lungu came to address us at the memorial for President Michael Sata on 28th. And he said, for what has happened 4 days ago, I'm returning to politics to restore democracy and to restore the Patriotic Front to its legitimate owners, and urged the PF to act politically, because legally this was now taken away from us by Mao Sampa. There was some delay to change the registrar details, because there was a hero of a woman who was registrar of societies, Tandiwe Muhende Piri. She stood her ground. She says, I've looked at the register of the PF. I've actually even written to them to submit office bearers, and we are in the process of changing where they didn't have fingerprints and all this. So to say they've held a general conference, this is not according to their. She was harassed, she was humiliated, she was removed. They brought in Mwambazi to act, who immediately, not Mwambazi came later. There was a lady they brought who changed the details of office bearers, removing Edgar Lungu and others that were on the list, like Freedom Skazwe, like the former Minister of Community Development, like Davis Mwila. That office bearers was replaced by Mao Sampa and his so-called Central Committee members. From then on, they moved to Parliament. Parliament said, Morgan Ngona wrote a letter that changes were done, that the party had the general conference, extraordinary general conference, and it had made changes, and it had made these changes at Parliament, where Brian Munduwile, Stephen Kampiongo, and Anton Kasando were removed as leader of the opposition in Parliament, and chief whip, opposition chief whip and deputy. He brought in new people, Robert Chabinga, the MP that we had expelled from Mafinga, as leader of the opposition, Anton Mumba from, I think, Mufulira, and Jonathan Daka from Chadiza were brought in as deputies. We have been in court since 2023 to fight that off. There were subsequent actions, for example, the expulsion of the 9 MPs, a case that remains active, which we had used to anchor this process for a consent judgment, because the 9 MPs led by Brian Munduwile, Stephen Kampiongo, Mutotwe Kafuaya, Mulenga Fube, and there were 9, including the Secretary General, Raphael Nakachinda. We took Mao Sampa to court. That we have so many cases. Let's just narrow down to this case. Let us challenge your election as president of the PF. Your Congress, your conference was illegal. It is that matter that has been very active in court. Mao Sampa, in the intervening period, reconciled with the late president, Edgar Lungu. And he pledged to return the PF, but there was a matter active in court. We drew up a consent judgment to be signed by the court that Mao Sampa and ourselves had reconciled. He it disavowed the general conference that he held, the extraordinary general conference, that it was illegal, it didn't meet the statutes, it didn't meet the regulations of the party, and therefore it was illegal. And we had therefore settled. He even made fresh appointments in Mulenga Kampamba and Brenda Nyurenda, and brought in Anthony Kasandwe as new office bearers to replace Robert Chavinga, Anton Mumba, and Jonathan Daka. That consent judgment has never been signed, And we saw in November when the matter finally came up, when there was so much pressure against the judge. She said she wasn't going to deal with the consent judgment. She ordered a full trial. There was a full trial. Stephen Kampiongo on one side came and testified, and Morgan Ingona on the other side. Raphael Nakachinda had also a Secretary General submitted. It is that case where there was a ruling last week where the court, Judge Concepta Zulu said Mao Sampa was validly elected, and she alleges that the PF didn't have a central committee because the top 5 had resigned in Edgar Lungu, Mukupangonga, Davis Mwila, Wo Inonge Wina. So the top senior officials had resigned, and she holds, therefore, the party didn't have a central committee. Of course, that's not true. I think even that for us is a point of appeal. A lot of people have taken comfort that although the party has been taken to Mao Sampa, who is now with us, all of us are in one camp, besides we initiated the consent judgment, that maybe there is discussions of how we handle this judgment. It's hostile to the PF. It has even created a very terrible precedent. I like Wachomba Mwachewapo at what's happening in the UPND. Judge Concepta Zulu's judgment says if there is no leadership, anyone can hold a new Congress and appoint a leadership. The UPND doesn't have a leadership at the moment. President Hakainde Hichilema and his National Management Committee, their mandate expired in February. In effect, anyone, if we are to follow what Judge Concepta Zulu said, can hold a general conference in UPND and purport that they are president of UPND. That's what she has said, that the PF didn't have a central committee. So therefore, Mao Sampa was genuinely, was legitimate to hold the action it took because there was no leadership. Similarly, the UPND today,
You see, Ambassador,
the leadership expired in February. I like the gentleman who's petitioning the UPND. He keeps on saying that former Secretary General Batuke Menda, former President Hakainde Hichilema. I was briefing my audience on my page. They could have been missing all this. And let me hand over to you, my brother. You were giving your opinion. Let me ask this question. What's the state of the country? And what should the opposition do as we go to elections?
So like I said, as we go to the elections, I think I'll try and repeat what I said so that those that we had lost can, we can move together. You see, when Bill 7 came into law, I think we should have concentrated on some of the laws that changed, especially those that govern the electoral process. The biggest problem that we have is that most of our leaders, they don't take time to read these things and understand. I think we are more oriented in just that route of just whistleblowing and just alarming the nation without reading. You see, the issue that we have at hand here, you should understand that most of the political parties currently and their constitutions are not designed to fit in alliances. They are not. Most of the political party constitutions that we have, they've given power and autonomous powers to the president, the national executive committees, the national management committees. Those are the bodies that are mostly recognized in the constitutions that we have. Now, coming to this election that we have, the conundrum which most of these political parties are facing is their own constitutions. I'll give you an example. The Article 43 of the FDD, which talks about the functions of the president, it says the president alone shall be the flag bearer in a general election. Now, this does not recognize an alliance. It does not talk about an alliance. So right
No,
now, the
Pachomba,
FDD,
just a clarification there.
Empire.
Yeah, when I was researching on this particular topic, I had to speak to various presidents because, of course, there are many rumors that no, Uyutawapa office bearer's list. I spoke to many presidents. I can confirm, for example, that Zambia Must Prosper president, KBF, is on the register at the office, at Chief Registrar's office. Harry Kalaba is our dear brother, Dr. Fred Membe is. So I had to speak to them, to FDD. I had to speak to them. The limbo, the crisis that FDD has is that they held a general conference and they've proposed constitutional amendments. They did some constitutional amendments at their conference, including the issue of allowing an alliance, including the issue of if they've been picked as a special purpose vehicle. In this case, they've appointed Brian Munduwile, who then they will sponsor, although they will have a president in Dr. Chifumu Banda. The correct status there, according to the Secretary General, is that the Registrar of Societies have not responded to confirm that the General Conference they held is valid and that the amendment they've proposed in the Constitution that's deposited at the Registrar has been amended. So their crisis is not necessarily the provisions. They did some changes in 2021, which were adopted at the General Conference, extraordinary conference that they just had. But that 30 days later, the Registrar of Societies have not responded. And this is the same cry with John Sangwa. He registered the 1 million membership online, and his team decided that they should become a political party. They've since submitted the process for political parties, and it's just quiet. It's those activities we are talking about, and where now the registrar is participating in the deplatforming of these leaders, whether it's Peter Chanda, whether it's Dr. Sebastian Copeland, whether what has happened at Zambia We Want may also occur. I just thought I could clarify on that particular one.
Yeah. So, Ambassador, you see, this is what I'm saying. We had time, and we knew that we had a roadmap to the elections. Bill 7 came in. Obviously, it saw some constitutional amendments there. Now, our colleagues in opposition should have taken time to look at the electoral process and some of the codes that had changed. Now, you can't tell me that. Honestly speaking, we are 4 months away, if not 5 months from the general election, and you want to register a party today, and you wish the response from the Registrar of Societies as and when you want it, because it was written to them today. I think most of these things that are being done today, we should have done them even late last year, so that at least we should have given the Registrar of Societies more than enough time to respond to most of these queries that are coming up today. When was the FDD convention held, which changed the constitution? It is just last month. It is just last month. And you talked about the processes that are involved with the clearing of these candidates. You talked about the days the OP take, you talked about the days the police take. So I think to some extent, it is unfair for us to conclude and assume that whatever is happening is part of a bigger ploy by the government to block independent candidates or to even block other political players. Because right now, the UPND, the ruling government, has written a memo. They are circulating a memo calling their own general election. So let us wait and see the time their list will take to be cleared by the Registrar of Societies. I'm seeing a situation where, take for instance, we go, the UPND hold their general conference next month, which is May. Then within May, before June, the new updated list of their office bearers is cleared before the ones that were submitted by the FDD is cleared, before the requests that were submitted by John Sangwa is cleared. Maybe that is when we can come and assume to say, no, there's a bit of favoritism here because these came before the ruling party. You see? Because again, I'm looking at how we are trying to jump the stipulated time frames here.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you very much.
So, yeah, in my view, let us wait for the ruling party to get to their convention. Obviously, they are going to submit that list of the chosen candidates to the chief registrar of societies. Then it is at that time that we can begin to conclude and say, but why have you cleared these that have just come now when we have got a backlog of these opposition guys that held conventions as early as March, as early as May, then you've not cleared them?
Thank you, thank you. There you have it, dear viewers. Chumba Kauma's position is very simple. You, as the opposition, have blame to take too. You just can't blame the state. I agree with you. There is shared blame, but the trouble is when some parties are not being honest. And this is what we are alleging. The lines are open. If you have any questions for Mr. Kaoma or the assertions I have put up, the lines are open. Make that call. Make that call. The harassment of presidential candidates. We saw Brad Mundubile was stopped at the airport, was not allowed to travel. It ended up in an arrest, and they charged him with cyber crimes. The following day, 2 days later, they called him at the ACC. Makebi Zulu was flying out of the country, was stopped for a number of time, and he couldn't be allowed. He was later allowed. Yesterday, there was an American, a Zambian national based in America here, and he was pulled out of the plane, accused of supporting Harry Kalava. What do you make of this? But take together with the calls that are coming. Let me just take some calls, Mr. Kauma, then you come and answer those issues.
Sure.
Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from, and give us your questions or contributions. Iyo Twabuka Wane, how are you?
Wino Wachanda na bena barishane uko.
Barifia Wino Wachanda. Tell us your name and where you are calling us from and make your contributions.
Chimukulu Chingola.
Make your contributions. Make your contributions.
Kwena ni question finkwete kuri Wachanda nangu kwena mwalikanyisha kuba
Kuri Bakaoma.
Kuri Bakaoma.
Bachomba Kaoma mkwai.
Bachomba Kaoma bale mufukana ba PF sana mukulanda kwabo. Necho onalambire chiba mwamba. Ako bachwalando ko bati ba PF chonse bale pitamo ngala bali kichire mumoku. Na mrengo kwa
Akulandeni amatuleo umfwa.
Ati fiba ba PF bale pitamo ngala bali kichire mumoku maezi ya kunuma abali kichwa society. Nomba imingala tonga twachimone basambe imingala tuwatambe ndati. So if you walanda bamwamba tafile panga tafile nola sana intefo tulelanda kunangwa na zambi so tulepitamo. Ero imbi question yoni gafaso kwipshapo yo balando kwa tikwire tukalolere ba UPND na bena bakatwala ama papers kulya etukalando ko tukachite conclude. Musheba ba boss besaba giranda. Atukwatenshita yaifyo. So okulanda bantungulushi kwena tule muno okulanda tefuniteko tulanda nga tuleyita timpoba pf tufire twayimina pepa kishinka aba bantu bali tuchusha pamwe nga fwe na Zambia noba nga chakati waisa pamwe era ero tulanda timpoba pf batule bapera n'ebisambo baleteeka ninchitapale ko tulekita ero ninchitapale neko twalayo atotera bamama.
Thank you very much. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from and give us your contributions.
Hello?
Yes, caller.
Yes, I think I'll remain anonymous.
Anonymous, give us your contributions.
I think Brother Kaoma, I don't know what lens, political lens he's seeing in our country. I have noticed to say, I think Brother Kaoma is still doing theory politics. Well, this UPND government is ahead of him in terms of analyzing what is happening in this country. To begin with, he has to agree with me to say all these amendments came through Bill 7. And if I was to ask Brother Kaoma, when was Bill 7 passed? You discover that Bill 7 was just passed a few months ago. And everything that is happening in terms of changing of the reforms, they are directly preventing all opposition political parties. And this is why the political parties, for them to survive, they tried to make alliances because this current government is crippling down every potential opposition party, every potential candidate. They are squeezing them with using the law to a point where we are going to see this country going what happened in Tanzania, where the president for Tanzania, that woman wanted to stand on her own. And for sure, she went through unopposed. Elections were announced that she got 90%. I think my brother he has not yet understood the politics of our friends in this current government, that they do not mean well. All those reforms are intended to prevent the opposition to file in a presidential candidate. And they've gone further to even parliamentary. They know very well to say, when we have squeezed all these political parties, what will happen? Members of parliament will stand independent. They've gone further again to discourage prolonging the process of independence, MPs to stand as independent. I think I'm urging my brother to get back to understand that what is happening in Zambia is extraordinary. It is not a normal ordinary as he thinks it should be. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from and make your contributions.
MK calling from Ndoro.
MK, make your contributions.
Yeah, first of all, Amamba, I find it very misleading for you to say Makebi Zulu is the president of the Patriotic Front. Makebi Zulu was elected on a nameless party. I think you are misleading us.
We had an entire program on Friday. Go and watch it. Why I say why I've insisted that Makebi Zulu is president of the Patriotic Front. I had an entire program on Friday.
Mr. Mamba, you are speaking to us. You could stay educated. Now, I'm to mislead you. We'll find it very awkward. Okay?
No, my brother. Just state your opinion. State your opinion. We are in the game of opinions. We are in the game of opinions. State your opinion.
No, that's why I wanted to start.
So don't qualify. No, listen. I'm going to cut your line. Don't qualify my opinion as misleading. Is that clear? Okay. I have an opinion. I've given you my opinion. Give your opinion. Here, my dear brother Chumba is giving his opinion. and I shouldn't stop him. Hello, caller, please tell us your name and where you're calling us from and give us your contribution.
Let me first start by responding to the previous caller. Hello?
Yes, you are on. You are on.
Oh, thank you. Let me start by the immediate previous caller that called. Makebi Zulu is the president of Patriotic Front, so there is no one that is being misled. That's a fact. It happened. There was a convention that happened, and Makebi Zulu, out of many that stood, was elected the Patriotic Front president. Whether legal or what doesn't matter, but he is a legitimate president of a Patriotic Front. Let me quickly just ask questions to Mr. Kauma. I think just like others have expressed, for me, I feel he's so detached to the realities on the ground in terms of politics in Zambia. UPND have made it very clear. You know, at first, we used to say these things. People thought this was about PF, and the other opposition political parties used to celebrate in the past. But we told them that this man is not just trying to steal PF. He's literally trying to steal the whole country. And this is where we are. There is the whole system, Mr. Kauma, has been destroyed. Whether you do it legally, PF have been going to courts. Tell me which issue or court case has been ruled upon or presided upon from the time that PF took their matters as, you know, a law-abiding political party. They have been to courts to this day. There is no ruling that has been made. It has been Mingalato after Mingalato. So when you say, no, we wait for UPND to do this, for me, I think you are so much detached from the reality. The truth of the matter is this government has set up deliberate mechanism to prevent opposition political parties from participating in the coming election. And it is you people like you, Kauma, that validates what these people are doing. You know, when they hear things like that, they celebrate and say, yes. You know, there are people that are even thinking, no, we are not the people that did this. The truth of the matter, the government has purposely decided to prevent people from, you know, exercising their right in standing as political candidates, be it at presidential or parliamentary elections. So for me, I really want you to look back, and I want you to really, you know, analyze things rightly. Don't just speak. Maybe because you've been allowed to speak the way you are speaking. I don't know where you stand. I'm actually confused if you're opposition. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Hello, caller, please tell us your name. Vakauma. Just a minute. Callers. Hello, caller, please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
Yeah, good evening, Mr. Mwamba. Good evening, Mr. Kauma. I will remain anonymous.
Anonymous, make your contributions.
Yes, as well. Firstly, I want to express my disappointment. What Mr. Kauma is explaining issues. Just like others have said, I think you are very much detached with what is happening here in Zambia. And I'm even wondering if at all you live here in Zambia. To be very honest with you, Mr. Kauma, you are talking about the government which has no shame in the way they are handling matters. Look at the way the institutions are destroyed. You know, you even went on to say, no, let's wait until the UPND, they also submit, and then once they will be cleared by the registrar, and then we can... What are we going to do, Mr. Kauma? Look at the injustices which are happening here in Zambia, favoring their government. It's a well-known fact that even if UPND today submitted their documents by 2, 3, 4 days to come, it will be cleared. And nobody is going to say anything. It will be a cry of a day to day, just like the way we are crying. Nothing will happen. We cannot even say, no, we wait. For what, Mr. Kauma? We won't do anything. We've been seeing these injustices, and it has even become normal this time around. These abnormalities have become normal. Anyway, thank you so very much, Mr. Mwamba.
Thank you. Hello, caller, please say, yeah, the lines are hot. The lines are hot, Wakauma. You have to, let's just take as many as possible. Hello, caller, please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
Good evening, Ambassador. This is Anonymous.
Anonymous, give us your contribution.
Yes, sir. First and foremost, two things only. I find it pretty weird, Ambassador, that a man wearing a PF paraphernalia should come here on your platform and excuse the Mingalato of UPND. Maybe as he has been in Zambia for the last 5 years, he should be very well informed. Starting from the day that the president himself, Hakainde Hichilema, said that he would do Mingalato, to today when he has performed so many Mingalatos, no one needs to tell my brother Chumba what HH has been doing. Chumba needs to just buy a daily newspaper and go on social media and he will understand. For him to wear PF and come here and excuse what UPND is doing is confusing. I think I would like to encourage him to go back and introspect and think carefully about what he's saying. Don't take politics as a joke. These are people's lives. This is a nation. Okay? So let's not come into public and do games of politics. No. These are serious issues. If we are misguided, let's go and research, read the news and understand what's going on, and then come back and help people. Okay? Secondly, there's a gentleman who called and said, and he wanted to say that you, Ambassador, you are misleading the public. Ambassador, the moment you go to America, you are very well informed that you can know that. Let me inform him for Zambia. As who are here, back here at home, who are familiar with what is happening. Maybe you think Simoma Mamba, because you are there, maybe you don't know. Makebi Zulu has the structures of the Patriotic Front. Makebi Zulu has the structures of the Patriotic Front. Why? Because the structures of the Patriotic Front voted for Makebi Zulu. Those district chairmen and constituency chairmen and the chair ladies and the central committee that voted for Makebi, those are the structures. The same structures everybody has been fighting for and saying, no, reform structures. Those same structures, they voted for Council Honorable Makebi Zulu as party president. So whether we say no name or yes name or ECO faction or what, at the end, those of us who are here at home and at PF, we are clear about that reality. And it is better those who may, consider themselves uninformed or unaware, let them now be informed that the members of the Patriotic Front understand themselves to say, we have a president in Honorable Council Zulu. I submit.
Thank you. There are two more people waiting. Let's just pick those calls. Hello, caller, please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
Yeah, this is David Moyowambuya.
Anonymous, hold on. I'm taking a call from Mongu. My dear brother from Mongu, make your contributions.
Yes, this is David Moyowambuya from Mongu.
My dear brother, my senior political analyst.
Yes, Ambassador, how are you?
Very well, sir. How are you?
I'm good.
You didn't invite me to Kuomboka.
Oh no, you are. I wish you were. I'll send you all the pictures I could get.
Okay.
This was the most beautiful Kuomboka because we beat someone to the game. We had to change paddlers on the way because the Litunga would have delayed in arriving. And that would have killed the ceremony. For the past 2 years, the Litunga arrives at 22 hours. But this time around, the Litunga was a bit smarter. Despite his late departure in Lialui, they changed paddlers on the way. And lucky enough, we had enough currents, we had enough water
Oh,
to allow
good to hear. No, congratulations to His Majesty the Litunga. You know, me and you, I served in Western Province is dear to me, and so good wishes to the Litunga and successful hosting of the 2026 Kuomboka ceremony.
We had more than 300 to 400,000 people.
Wow, congratulations.
Biggest Kuombokas. You know the harbor very well. Just to get from the harbor to ShopRite Mall, it took us 2.5 hours.
My God. No, well done. Make your contribution, what, David?
You see, Ambassador, I'm now breaking my promise because I told you I'll only participate after the burial of the 6th Republican president. But, I mean, that's a story of another. You see, Ambassador, the biggest problem with... I follow your program. You know that I listen to everything, every day, everywhere you call us. The biggest problem in this country is I think we lack a lot of reading history. I totally agree with Mr. Chumba, what he's saying. You know, we should be going back to when was Zambia. You start from the way Zambia, how was Zambia born? What was the foundation of Zambia? If Zambia itself could breach an agreement with the with Barrosaland, Royal Agreement, the Barrosaland Agreement, then how can you trust any politician? Do you think the one-party participatory democracy which Kenneth Kaunda introduced, do you think every player in Zambia wanted it? They didn't want it. It was imposed on them. So we are going back to the same script. We are going back to the same script. Even the people in the opposition, they haven't been honest. As Mr. Chumba is saying, you could have held that convention immediately. President Lungu resigned from government. And today you have to know he did write a letter to government, which was never withdrawn. And you say, no, we as the Central Committee did not accept his resignation. All those are frauds. Mr. Chomba there told us very well to say he's a Patriotic Front bona fide. And he reads this. Patriotic Front it is part to blame. And to a person to blame, I don't call spade to spade. Given Lumida is my brother. But given Lumida and Kim are to blame. Because they delay you people, you have paid the 200. 2 months have go through in. Some of us know that it will go in his favor. It will go in his favor. But the question now is Mao Sampa will the party to Makevi Zulu. What time will that happen? When will that happen? Will the Registrar society accept to change the names? Even the opposition themselves, they've dribbled themselves. The people who are in good standing are those who have got their names at the register. So you will have to compromise. This invisible convention which took place, they have to compromise with one of those parties which are already registered there. Now, how will they convince people like Karhari Kalabat say, no, you can't be president? After he's invested so much money in his first citizenship. It's a dream of Dala. When the president went to the and said, God made him go through, he was not lying. This man told the truth as it is. He told the whole country to say, if we didn't get Bill 7, we would have lost the elections. So Chomba read what the president said in Nakonde. That's why he's now telling you, say, did you see what the reforms in the Electoral Commission are in Bill 7? So if those things are law, my brother, whether we like it or not, whether we climb on a mountain, you know who's the Electoral Commission of Zambia. That's Zalomis. She won't accept those people.
Thank you.
This game,
Thank you, Bob David. Thank you. There you are, Chomba. You have at least our senior citizen and senior resident from Mongu agrees with you. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you're calling us from and make your contributions.
Thank you. Ambassador, I will remain anonymous.
Thank you very much. Please make your contributions.
I'd like to bring to our attention again that our democracy has consistently under this party in government remained under threat. It is actually concerning to hear Comrade Kauma Chomba come. For me, who who appears, and by what he submits, clearly is a surrogate of the current party in government. You cannot even say that we have now reached a level where we need to wait for the party in government to see how the registrar treats them. Listen, UCA began this process way back to be able to get clearance, get formalized with registrar. To date, before Bill 7, to date, they've never been adopted. To me, Brother Chumba is a surrogate hired by the UPND to come and create a narrative to convince the Zambian people process is ongoing. My appeal to all of us as countrymen and women is the critical mass, the opposition leaders to be united. We need to protect our democracy. I submit.
Thank you very much. Thank you. There you are. Let me take all the phones are buzzing. All the phones are buzzing. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you're calling us from, and give us your contributions.
Daniel calling you from Cape Town.
Daniel from Cape Town, make your contributions.
My contribution goes to the UPND press singers. You know all this that is happening. The Mingarato they are playing with the Electoral Commission and everything. You know everything that when it's leading to someone being a dictator. The UPND are thinking this is a nice man, whatever he says, they are clapping. But they are forgetting one thing. The PF is there to speak for Zambians and not to speak for only PF. So the time will come that when UPND takes whatever it wants, brings down the PF, who next will fall prey? It's the same UPND members. They will have nothing to say to their president to criticize them. The way he's sending PF members to prison, they will be them now going to prison. You will have no one, because the PF that are fighting now, if let's say for instance, all are in prison, who will be next? It will be the current government wants to take away PF. So if PF and other small political parties are gone, then the praise singers are the ones that will be the targets now. That you, if you go to prison. That's all how all dictators behave. Uganda, Idi Amin, chased the white people. After the white people went, who was the next? The same Ugandans who were dancing for him. They were the ones who were in trouble now. This is the reason why Mandela, when they got independence in South Africa, he refused to chase away the whites because he knew that if the whites are gone, who are the black people going to fight? They are going to be fighting each other. So, praise singer by UPND. I know this program, Honorable Mwamba has gone. He has grown ever since it started. Now I can even fail to go through. The UPND are listening. Everything that you are seeing, if HH can do this to other people, just know that it will happen to you as well. The PF, UPND, you don't even have anywhere to go. We can see you on your campaign trails, you don't have money, you don't have anything. When your time will come, you are going to suffer, and we are going to watch you suffer, because this is not the time and era. Here, what you are seeing, things going wrong, you are supporting, and you are blindly supporting like it's something nice, but not knowing that later it's your children. Yes, but let me start space in free education. But CBU, whatever university students with meal allowances, it won't continue, because at the time when he takes away that thing, it will be dictator already. It will be a dictator in full blown. So when you complain, you go to prison. no one will be there to speak to you for you, because the people that are speaking for you now, like Honorable Mwamba and the man you've invited, so many, Makebi Zulu and so on, you are not supporting them. You think they are doing these things for their own benefit, but you can see where it's going, that this is going to be a disaster. Electoral Commission, all those bosses at Electoral Commission, even them, they must know that when they want to back out, they won't. When you back out, you go to prison. Thank you very much, Honorable.
Thank you, thank you. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you're calling us from.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I would like to ask Chumba just one question. Chumba. I would like to ask him if he's got anything to do with what happened with NCP in Ndola. Because there was a convention in Ndola, and from the grapevine, he's been mentioned here and there. Because he's saying that he's a member of Patriotic Front, but what happened in Ndola? What role did he play at the convention for NCP in Ndola?
NCP held the conference in Ndola.
Yes, it was like a secret one, but I think Chumba should tell us exactly what happened there.
Okay, thank you. I think he has heard the question. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you're calling us from.
Good evening, Ambassador. This is David Chkumbi, and I'm calling from Western Province, Mongo.
Mr. Chkumbi, welcome. Please make your contributions.
Thank you so much, Ambassador. Ambassador, I want to disagree with the big man, Mr. Chumba, of what he's saying. There is a statement where he said, we have just to wait for them, meaning by UPND, to have a convention, and upon submitting their credentials to the Registrar of Society to see if they will be cleared than those who have submitted earlier. Bamwamba, these people, they have told us and they have shown us that they will never respect any institution at all. Why waiting for them? Let me tell you one thing. They can take their credentials or their papers of their conference or whatever. They can take them and they can be cleared. Then that's when I will stand and start crying foul. Do you know what they are going to say? They're going to say, that's not our baby to nurse. Us, we submitted as you submitted. If us, we are being cleared before you, that's not our own baby to nurse. Go and ask the same registrar. Maybe there was something that they were looking or they were trying to see. That's why maybe they didn't even clear you. The only thing that they can do, you are FDD. Please go and pressurize these people as this. Don't even wait to come and say, no, we see. That's why now we'll say, oh, now they are favored this, they are favoring this, and they are not favoring this. That is, there will be nothing to do with that. This is the only time that we can pressurize them so that this registrar, they can do the needful thing. Thank you so much, Mr. Ambassador.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Let me take the last call to allow Chumba to pick, because there are so many calls, but let me just take this last call for this session. Then we allow Chumba to answer. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you are calling from.
Good evening, Ambassador.
Good evening. Hello, please switch off your other devices creating feedback. Proceed. Your feedback, where you are listening to feedback is delayed, so you will not know that you are live. Please switch off the other device.
Okay. It's already off. So
Thank
I just
you.
wanted to talk about what Chumba was saying.
Yes, please. Yes.
Okay. Chumba and then the other gentleman from Mongu seem to be delusional. It seems like, just like most of them are saying, they're very detached from what's been happening. I don't know, probably maybe it's because of the cases to do with the drug supplies, because it seems like he's pushing a narrative for the UPND. Right now, as we speak, the FDD has been taken to court. Somebody is challenging, so meaning, obviously, the issue of Brian Mundubile and Chifumu Banda, there will be an injunction on that. So I don't really know what Chumba is talking about.
Okay, thank you very much. Chumba, my guest, you have raised a storm, but I know that you are capable. Just respond to some of the concerns by our people.
Ambassador, I think I've taken a record of 10 questions.
Yeah.
I've taken a
You can
record
just
of 10
summarize.
questions. Yeah. So MK from Mundola was talking about how we are not honest with the wrangles in the Patriotic Front. I think, to be honest, I'm just going to summarize this by saying, when Mao Sampa convened that illegal convention, was he a member of the Patriotic Front or he was a member of the UPND? You can't blame the neighbors over the conduct of your children. You can't. Mao Samba was our bona fide member when him and Chabinga and the rest gathered at Murungushi, called for a convention, which in a letter written to Murungushi, they said that it was a retreat. How it turned into a convention, only God knows. Mao Samba was our member at that time. He was our member. He was not a member of the UPND. Now, I'm coming to this gentleman who talked about the court delays. He said, no, but we have had cases, all cases that involve the Patriotic Front, they are delaying in court. I'll take you back to 2015. When President Lungu appointed Honorable Richo Siamunene as defense minister and Honorable Grayford Monde as agricultural minister, these two colleagues were subsequently expelled from the UPND. And the UPND actually went to court. I mean, these two colleagues, they took the party to court challenging their expulsions. Those court processes stayed until we came to the elections in 2016. So I don't think the delay in the adjudication of matters in our courts has anything to do with the sitting government. Ambassador, I have a land issue in court which has been there for the past 5 years. I've even lost interest. Our courts have got. Do you remember when President H just came out of prison? He said he met people in prison who've stayed longer than the punishment they would have gotten if they were convicted for the crimes that they are being accused of. So delays in the adjudication of matters has got nothing to do with the government. Mind you, there are three arms of government. We have the executive, we have the legislature, and we have the judiciary. So the issue to do with the delays should be channeled to the Chief Justice. Maybe we need more judges. So let me come to anonymous number 4, who talked about the Bill 7 being a route of the UPND Mingarato. Ambassador, in April 2015, the Patriotic Front changed the constitution. We were 4 to 5 months away from the elections in 2016. We changed the constitution. Amongst the new regulations that came was, number 1, the issue of the grade 12 certificate came into play. Number 2, the running mate clause came into play. Number 3, the 50+1 came into play. These are the clauses that the PF brought in April of 2015, 4 months away from the elections. We even prescribed the 12th of August as the official date of elections. What did the UPND do? Immediately they went to campaign, appointed Honorable Geoffrey Wariamwamba as the presidential running mate. Of course, they lost that election. But immediately that constitution was signed at Hero Stadium by the late president, our colleagues, they got straight to work. My point is that when the Bill 7 was signed, mind you, this is a bill that stayed in Parliament for a long time. Even when the technical committees were being sworn in by the Speaker, this is a bill that went to Parliament on various occasions. So our MPs knew what was coming in the Bill 7. At least by that time, immediately it was signed into law. We should have brought in issues that we are talking about today to say, look, the new constitution allows candidates to participate at presidential level as independents. The clearance processes. We should have started immediately. The Bill 7 was done. Now, we want to cry today. 2 months after the Bill 7 was done and dusted, then we want to bring in the issues of technicalities today. I'm saying we are partly to blame because we should have started immediately. The constitution was signed into law. Mind you, the UPND is not the only government to change the constitution in an election year. We did it in 2015. We mopped out the likes of Honorable Mwari Teta, who came in and admitted to say they had no grade 12 certificates. So, those were the casualties. But they didn't just cry foul. They went and they corrected their educational records. We have ministers also that were affected. You see? Then, coming to Anonymous, who talked about the degradation of democracy under the UPND. Obviously, that is his opinion. But I'll tell you this. Every country is governed by laws. And if he's saying that he's seen the degradation of democracy, I expect him to point out these scenarios that he's talking about, because looking at the problems that the Patriotic Front has today, these are problems that were birthed by our own members. These problems, they started within from our own members. These problems were not started by a UPND member. At the Patriotic Front Convention that was called by Honorable Mao Sampa, if it was called by Gilbert Riswaniso or Obvious Mwariteta, would have said the UPND is to blame, but it was called by our own members. We had our own members there. It is our own members that are partly to blame.
Thank you. Thank
and
you.
then, coming to the last question that came from Ndola.
Yeah, let me just take in some more question, because I see, sorry, I see the phone is buzzing, Let me just take in a few questions so that you answer them comprehensively.
Yeah.
Hello, caller, please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
Good evening, Ambassador
Bamunkonge, tell us your question and your contribution.
Randa poetry chonse Ambassador tinalanda ti vachombesho vafuere chimona kapokola fuala uniform yako akomando because each pani pochirendera pali inonchita twarero lere ntunguru shukufuma mu 2021 ama structures yarero lero kusare ntunguru shita kwete chance keti bayete kuisa conference bara bachirikira mpaka ama structures kwa boko ya file nshire isuma ayene yabo mfyama efyare tontonkanya yasara nentungurushi icho kisekeshe PF uri onse no utungurushi mu PF structures uri fyo watanti kwa ba president wesu wa Cape Zulu wa Rubindani ba vice president ba Mausa Mpani ba secretary ba ambassador ba public secretary yonse shose femparu menomba chayikara na patepu so nomba ne champa pusha sana efyo bafuere efyo balera ndana kusana so ine na makana ya papantulimbi tina sta offending na bekushama questions lero bunga baya kunganda bari abakutumane bamonere Jesse bafuere li Jesse likankara sana boro batontonka nyang pakfuare li Jesse efyo bafuire bachita na pera mkwai.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Hello, caller, please tell us your name and where you are calling us from and make us your contributions. Give us your contributions. Endita.
bamwamba iyo platform iyo mwalichita sana raise yali basana very high by today mwafayo kuyiwesha yo platform and for me ndemilomba kufe chintu chimu yo platform ilasambilisha abantu ifingi sana te platform yakuleta po ama surrogates or the sympathize of UPND Chumba Kaoma ni UPND mumonefie you cannot start condemning your own family your own house Chumba Kaoma bonse abantu balishwa timunangu wa Kings Malembe they are sympathize of UPND. Yes, that is their democratic choice, but your platform they accumulate poa mwamba mwala ona platform and mwala stafe distort a very good platform iyali isambilisha Zambians abantu epo baleko nkefisuma nefishinka. For me, I hope mwasambili lapo next time don't bring such people on your platform. I thank you.
Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from, and tell us your contributions.
Yes, my name is David. As the previous caller said, to the Conquer program, then bringing people that masquerade is wrong. Chumba is not, by this time, is fighting for his freedom. Freedom from prison. He's like tired. Now you bring him, he's masquerading as PF. I don't know whether he said he's PF and then you brought him as PF. You should have known he's masquerading, he's fighting for his freedom. So whatever he says, what positive has he brought there in terms of talking about development and freeing the PF from whatever is happening to them?
Thank you. Thank you very much.
That's the problem. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from and make your contributions.
Good evening. I don't know whether it's good afternoon, Ambassador. My name is Rob. I'm calling from Manchester.
Rob, I'm from Manchester. Make your contributions.
Okay. Wow. What a shocker. If this was football, people they would actually call it what a shocker. Tried to listen and I've tried to hold it in, raise my tolerance levels, but my God, this lad that you've brought here, Mamamba, tonight is out of touch and is very, very naive. And he's trying to come up there. He's got references to some of the things that have happened, but he does not understand the period that our country is in. Zambia is fighting for its second independence. And you could see even the way he's explaining things in the PF, he doesn't care. There's no emotions. And it's someone that just lives like everything is okay. As long as I'm okay, I don't care what's happening around me. That is the energy that he's giving us. If you see the kind of messages that people are sending me, it's like, where is this guy from? I am very, very, very ashamed to have a brother from the same village where my family comes from to come and betray the Zambian people like this when people are struggling, when people in Zambia cannot even talk about politics openly when you're having a drink with them. Come on, we can do better. Don't think about your pocket now. Think about your future generation. Zambia is fighting its second independence. How can you even be claiming that the festival UPN did come and what's going to happen to them? Then we say what? By then we won't even have time. Any organization should have what we call service level agreements. Imanga Mwayakula Registrar of Society, they should give you a time frame or a window so that you know when you'll be able to get your response. Not these assumptions that these young people are trying to give us like we're kids. Our country is under attack and all why you said, oh, foreign a PF, as if you're PF. You know, this is not right. It's not right. There are people, they don't even know whether they're going to eat tomorrow. I was in Zambia recently and I saw the level of anger in people. And for him to come here and say, democracy, where is the democracy shrinking? Bamdara, try to live outside Zambia. And people are waiting. They don't even know whether they will get through their thing. We saw recently what happened with Makebi Zulu, where he needed clearance to travel. And we see some other people that are being taken out of the flights, and you're here and saying that everything is okay. Come on, we can do better. Not if I'm to give. Thank you.
Thank you. No, I will explain. I will explain what we are doing. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from. Hello, caller. Hello, caller. Uh-oh. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from. Alfred Yonge from Lusaka, make your contributions.
I think Vachombaka must not come there and start fooling us. We know that our brothers crossed over to UPND. So he can't come there in PF regalia, start fooling us that he's speaking on behalf of the PF. Because he was busy in Kasama campaigning for the UPND candidate. He was busy in Chawama campaigning for the UPND candidate. So he shouldn't come there and start fooling us. That guy is eating with the UPND. And this is the problem we have in Zambia. We are doing politics of convenience, overlooking all those things that matters most to the country, to the well-being of the country. We are overlooking democracy. We are overlooking economic development. We are overlooking poverty reduction. As long as me, I'm eating, then I am okay. This is what is eating us up as Zambia. And this is what is getting us into problems. Because we have seen most youthful people like Chumba. Can he start questioning the shrinking democracy in the country under the UPND government? Is he serious? He lives in Zambia. We meet with him at Mandayo. He's our colleague. He used to be our colleague. Why should he come and start pretending? If he's okay, because he's on the other side, it doesn't mean that all of us are okay.
Thank you.
So he can't be objective.
Thank you. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from. And
You have crossed over. Just a matter of time.
Hello, caller.
Good evening, Ambassador. Once again, I called earlier, but I just wanted to bring to your attention two things about the guests that we have on your show. You may wish to know that Chombakaoma on the 14th of January, and I'm looking at it right here, it's all over social media. On the 14th of January, he posted a photo of himself getting into a vehicle and said that he was going to Chawama to campaign for Morgan, who was the UPND candidate in Chawama. And then if you go to Zambian Digest, on the 17th of March, there's a post there that says that the PF Insider reviews internal chaos. So he's now using your platform to discredit the Patriotic Front. It appears he's been on this path for a while now, because on the 17th he was on Crown TV, saying, just speaking things against the Patriotic Front and just trying to confuse the public, and it's there on social media. And then here's the interesting thing. Part of the reason why I called, because he has mentioned Obvious Monitor twice. He has mentioned him twice just in the last few minutes. And when you go online, you will find a post attributed to Honorable Obvious Monitor Samaton, where Monitor was praising Chombakaoma and says, I was listening to Chombakaoma's program on Crown TV, and I must say the young man is very intelligent, blah, blah, blah. So by you PND Bare Mulumba, Mamona, there's a legendary there's a legend politician who once said, I think it's Samora Machel, who once said, if you find that my enemies are clapping for me, just know that I've sold you out. There's a saying like that. And that is what is happening with our brother there. That man that you brought there, sir, is a sellout. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Hello, caller, please tell us your name and where you are calling us from and give us your contributions.
Anonymous from Walker
Anonymous, make your contributions.
I'm Ambassador, I think we have a very, very bad candidate. I don't know the criteria for choice of this candidate, but he is a well-known surrogate and sympathizer of the UPND. And this program, I think, is not here to promote UPND ideas and agenda. This one clearly, he should be honest to himself and to, Patriotic Front as a party and the opposition that, he's crossed over by, opinion and everything that he's been saying on the program. So I think the best is to avoid, prevent such candidates from coming on the program because they may shape the opinions of the people who may not detect his deception. So I think he is a bad candidate for this program. I never expected, unless you tell us at the end of the day what the idea was bringing him. Thank you very much, Ambassador.
Thank you very much. Hello, caller. I think let me take the caller. It's now becoming about Chumba and not the program. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from. Hello? Hello, caller. You are muted. Please unmute yourself. You are muted. Quickly, you are muted. We need to wind up the program. Yes, caller. Please tell us. Yes.
Anonymous.
Anonymous, make your contributions.
Okay, mwabafyashibwa mwamba ekyo ndifa okulandako kyakuba ti programu yenu baddamu mwabafyashibwa mwamba twalichindika sana ero tulaleetapo n'abantu ababeene okuba ti baleekonka programu nomba efyo leero twayisaamu n'abachomba Kawoma na Kabiri bayisaapa baleemunika kwati ne ba PF kanshi mumutima ne ba UPND bachomba kwena kufesha ninga kwafyo kumikushako na mwisho efyo tulechula kwena zambe pakutimulira nda pamulanda wa UPND kuba ti irebo mbabuno nefyashala bachomba tamufire okula kitefyo nga muleeyita okukwati buli ntungulushi mwalishwa ne byonse fikonka mu Patriotic Front mu PF tete mwise pafone yi nokwamba okutasha ba UPND bamwamba twapofata next time twalomba pamonga ma followers benu mwiraleta abantu wa musango efya balefu okulabika soti pachironda kireka lipa jize omutalo tamu bati omuntu ayisa mu kutundu kitakwati tuli abaana abanono next time twapapata n'abafyashibwa mwamba mwiraleta abantu wa musango adodera.
Thank you. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you're calling us from and give us your contributions.
My name is Nancy. I'm calling from the Copper Belt.
Nancy, make your contributions quickly.
Yes, my opinion is that, you see, when you are eating, do not make statements that are going to be adding salt to injuries of other people. People like Chumba Kawoma, some of us know these people. There are people who really enjoyed under PF and they had everything to say to defend the PF government. Today, for reasons based on themselves, probably because they want to continue eating, they're ready to switch teams at any point. The principle for them is just to be enjoying all the time. They don't care about the good of the country, of the vulnerable people, good governance. That doesn't matter to them. So people like him, with his other colleagues, when Charles and all that, they lack morality. So this is a very wrong candidate to have here, unless maybe you just wanted us to come and say what we know about people like him. Otherwise, he should not come here and start saying, let's wait for the government to do what? You cannot say, you cannot blame government for the delay in the court cases for PF. We cannot blame them. Government has three arms. What is he talking about? He's not talking to children. We all know what's going on here. So him, if he wants to have this agenda of defending things by all means, maybe wants to keep himself out of trouble for maybe he's done some other wrong things, that's his business. But he should not come and talk to people as though we are people who are born today. We have no memory of what has been going on and we don't see what is going on. So it's very injurious to the rest of us. So Mr. Mwamba, please don't bring people like this again. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Ambassador. Ambassador.
Make your contributions.
Thank you very much. Bachanda language abutaiweme. In the first place, you can tell he came prepared. He has just come to communicate to us and to tell us that we must be ready, that no one will be on the ballot paper. That's what he has come to prepare us and tell us. And he wants to put a blame on the PF. When we know exactly what has been going on, you know, the biggest problem I have with all these, most of the people who are claiming to be PF, they have made PF as a plate. Nimbale yakulirapo. They are feeding from that. They are surviving from that. And that's where the problem is. And so they think we are very stupid. We can't see what is going on. That's not fair. Tell the gentleman, he was not even supposed to come on public like that. He's even eating something. We know all of us actually we need to survive, but it should not be like that. That actually also compromises on the president is supporting. If he comes like that, it means he got authority from the president he's supporting. And so, this is, he's prepared to come and tell us. What if we go for the president he's supporting, then they just come and tell us to say, actually, we were told not to be on the ballot paper because we delayed. That's what he's trying to say. Now, there is a point I want to emphasize. The opposition should rise now and actually go and put pressure on ECZ, pressure on the legislation, not what is going on. We are not going to live like this, Mr. Mwamba.
Thank you, my dear brother.
The opposition should rush and go and put ECZ to task now. Thank you.
Thank you. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from, and please give us your contributions.
Good evening, Ambassador.
Good evening.
Name withheld.
Okay, Anonymous, make your contributions.
Yes, Ambassador, that boy is a UPND cadre.
No, he's a man.
Sorry.
Don't call him a boy. At least let's not demean him.
Okay.
Thank you.
That man is a UPND cadre. And I think the moment the UPND started the case for the honeybee, that's when this man changed, because now this issue of the UPND trying to bring up cases, trumped up charges against the PF members, this man has gone to bed with them. Everything that he's been putting right on his Facebook page, first he started by talking about the Lungu family, trying to pretend like he is the son to the Lungu family and is close to Mama Esther, he was trying to explain to the people as if he was better than Makebi Zulu and trying to disregard Makebi Zulu. That was the first red flag. And I guess he was recruited to see how best he can be of damage to Lungu family. Next, we see him now coming there shamelessly trying to sound intelligent. But the truth of the matter is, whoever supports UPND, they are more like cult members. They cannot speak truth to power. And he is equally a cult member, because now he wants to speak as if Abena Zambia, Tabale Chula, he wants to speak as if everything is okay. I think next time abantu bapale fimwandini bareka lifi abantu imitima tebakuleta na mupepi. They deserve to have a platform somewhere where they'll be tolerated and entertained. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from. I'll take last two callers and yes. Yes, my dear brother, make your contributions.
Yeah, but you see the contribution that our brother Chumba has brought has raised a lot of heated debates. We all know him. He's been floating his benefits from PF. We have been all PF through and through. And today, to come and say he's been on the dance floor with our late president, may so rest in peace. And to come and compromise this platform today is very unfortunate. I concur with all my fellow previous callers who have said. We know the intricate problems that have been going on in the PF, and it's Mingalato. And after that, I'm calling from KwaZulu-Natal. I know this Mingalato will follow me up, but let's be objective. What he's saying, the young man, is very wrong.
Thank you.
Very wrong.
Thank you. My last caller here. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
This is Mo from Livingston.
Moa from Livingston, give your contributions.
Yeah. First of all, the gentleman on the I don't know it's Zambia, very Karamunga in Zambia Ashan, because before I want to talk to that I should be fishing kabati. Now the UPND government nakuyaba abantu bali munakwena kalimwati bato yaba PF beka. I think bakiri bari bepa because what we are going through mu UPND uwa PF ngana kwa tomlando for sure alaka kwa nuka ishiba mdala wonga bari mu offensive. We have by 2023 there were about 70,000 teachers who were unemployed. This government is not building any schools that can attract job opportunities. But PF Vaisa Kulif Patra 650. They are not creating jobs for nurses. Avantra Pusham, Ama doctors, they have been graduating. They are not being employed. And someone still thinks that we should give these guys another opportunity to UPND. Look at the fuel crisis. I'm a farmer's number. I'm a farmer's having a diesel, even in the processing of food. So now, I'm a farmers, they are chasing pretty diesel number. Diesel na number. Because you know the law of demand and supply. If there is less supply, there will be more demand. And if there is more demand, there is an increment. So this crisis here, fuel way, it is us, the people who are bearing the cost. But why are we bearing the cost? It's because our government cannot plan for us. So it's not the rule of our PF. Nangu papa no apwa mwamba. Ngarabe ishwe finished kamcharo. Ngabari kwa tabana. Ngarabe kwa interest yabana wabo. What type of inheritance they want? He wants for his children. If this is the Zambia that he wants his children to inherit, then I don't know. Otherwise, from Amazon, the Kaninan Panapan can never mumbe. Yanan can a formula put Tanzania and the KPF. If we want to say we are going to show these people on the ballot, tomorrow a ballot day, we are fighting a losing battle. A ballot day. What happened in Tanzania? I'm a soldier. Once they we cannot wait for the voting day. People must start to rise now so that we liberate this country.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Dear viewers, thank you very much. I think that was my last call. I have a guest in Chumba Kauma. He's legitimately here. He has a right to express himself. I know he has expressed opinion contrary to yours, but is allowed to be on this program. He was scheduled, he should have been here on Sunday and previously, but I haven't had an opportunity to cover him. For me, this is a debate. I want to bring as many people as possible, even those that hold contrary views. Chumba has heard your views and your concerns, but for us to shut him up, it's not our duty. We shouldn't shut him up. We should give him the platform. He says his opinion. You say your opinion, and that's why I say we should allow each other to say their opinion. This is the purpose of the debate. Some debates are extremely emotional, like this evening's debate, because you angrily dismiss Chomba's views, but he has a right to express them, and he has a right to hold those views. So, Chomba, let me bring you in. Answer a few of our callers and say your last words. Then I have a summary to do to our dear audience. Thank you, Chomba.
Ambassador, first of all, I've listened to all the callers and I respect people's opinions. One thing I've noticed about my party is that when you have a different view, you become an enemy of many. Even right now, Ambassador, if I was to say that the convention that elected Honorable Makebi Zulu as president of the Patriotic Front was illegal, others would take offense. But there is a court judgment in Kabwe that has suspended all activities in the name of the Patriotic Front and the use of all its letterheads, including the Secretariat. So we went ahead and convened a convention which people say was in the name of the Patriotic Front, but it is illegal. Honorable Mao Samba, on the other hand, I said it is illegal. Honorable Stephen Kambyonga said it was illegal. But if I stand on this point, I'll receive a lot of critics from my own members. Look, I'll still say this. We cannot continue blaming the UPND over an action that was initiated by our own member. A member who was as senior as the presidential.
The callers raised a lot of things, such as your posts on Facebook that apparently are supporting UPND. They allege that you participated in Chawama and Kasama by-elections as you stood with the UPND candidate in Chawama and in Kasama. And for that, they are accusing you that you are abusing first, the regalia and paraphernalia of the Patriotic Front because you are expressing views, yet wearing PF regalia while you with UPND and you are participating in UPND activities. Others are alleging that your commercial relationship with Honeybee could be distorting your views. I think those are valid concerns. Maybe answer
Maybe
to
let
those,
me answer that
then
one.
you give us your concluding
Maybe
remarks.
let me answer that one, Ambassador. Ambassador, there is no court case that involves me anywhere. Let me put this into perspective. Even the said Honeybee case, I was cleared by the ECZ. I was cleared a long time ago. I've never appeared before. I've never been paraded before any courts of law. I even wrote to the media houses that had written that story and they had included my name on that list. I said, please remove my name on that list. I've never been indicted in any courts of law. I'm just a gentleman, a member of the Patriotic Front that is saying the truth. I never participated in anything to do with the Kasama by-election. I was in Kasama. I was there to pay my respect to the Mwine Lubemba who had just lost a spouse. And I was there like any other son to the paramount chief to just pay my last respect to him. I mean, to just pay my respect to him and to just mourn with him. Then in Chawama, Brother Morgan Munda is someone I've known for the past 10 years. He's someone we talk to here and there. And even in my post, I said it is hard because I'm a Patriotic Front member. And my party has fielded in a candidate on FDD. And Brother Morgan is someone that I've known is like family to me. So it was quite a difficult one for me. Not that I'm abusing the PF Ligaria. I'm a proud PF member, but I'm not going to throw a stone at the neighbors over issues that we've initiated as a membership within the Patriotic Front. I think uwafya wima nga twamba okusanga amafya mu bantu abashariko when we decided to architect our own downfall. Ambassador, you've known me for a long time now. I consult you on quite a number of issues, and you know how open I've been with you. We've shared the same opinion on so many issues. Even when I say that partly we are to blame, you know that I'm right. Because the moment the Bill 7 was passed into law, our lawmakers, we have a committee that looks into legal matters, should have gone in to scrutinize the document and look at certain laws that affect the electoral process. Immediately, we should have begun to engage the Electoral Commission on these matters. I'm not going to blame the executive over the incompetencies of the judiciary. No, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. Because we've been in this route before. I've given practical examples. UPND MPs were expelled for accepting ministerial jobs. On 2 years, name it, they dragged on. They dragged on. I've given another example. The Patriotic Front, our party, my party, we changed the constitution in April. We brought the running mate clause, one. We brought the 50+1. We brought in the issue of grade 12 certificates. There were people that were affected. There were casualties that were affected. To every change in law, there are casualties. To every change in law, there are casualties. But it is best to realize on time that if a law changes, you immediately get acquainted to the new law. So imagine in 2015, there are people that did not read that the law has changed, that for you to participate at any level, you need a grade 12 certificate. Then they go to file in their nominations. Are they going to blame the government? No, you should have read that now the rules of engagement have changed. That is my position. When the Bill 7 was signed, our leaders should have looked at the electoral map and looked at some of the new rules that have come in. And at that point, you should have started engaging the Electoral Commission. If it means petitioning the Chief Justice, whoever is responsible, we should have started at that time. Now, we've been fighting in court. We've been fighting on the PF.
Thank you, Chumba.
Then
Thank you,
today we
Chumba.
come
Sorry,
and realize that,
we will not restart the program with the arguments we had at the beginning. Kindly give your last remarks. I want to do a summary of the day and also announce my next guest. Thank you.
Ambassador, my last remarks to my PF membership is that at the moment, we just need to accept the status quo. And the status quo is that for as long as we keep on fighting and hoping that there will be something better that will come out from the courts of law, especially hanging on to the dream that the Patriotic Front is going to be given back to us, we are just wasting time. The time we are wasting can be used to remobilize our grassroots. But the biggest problem is that we have three people that do not want to come together to choose one leader that can be the flag bearer. Because I don't even know which alliance I belong to. I don't know which alliance I belong to. Honorable Makepi Zulu, I don't know which route he's going to take. Honorable Brian Mundubire is in FTD. He's been consistent. At least for him, I can see that there's been consistency. But on Honorable Makepi Zulu, I don't know. I've seen him with Honorable next step. So in conclusion, I just want to call on my leaders in the Patriotic Front to put the house in order and end this chapter of always throwing jabs at the UPND. Let us focus for once, come together, campaign, and face the election as it comes. Thank you, Ambassador.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, I was hosting Chumba Kauma, is a PF member, and he was giving his valuable opinion. Let's come to thank you, Chumba, and thank you for your appearance today. Let's come to, as I conclude, to the issues I've raised today. Let me play the video from our dear brother, Dr. Fred Membe, and this perspective on the coming elections.
The first caller, I think it was Peter, who mentioned the electoral process. That's right. Are you worried about the electoral process? Do you also think that it will be a free and fair election?
We are likely to have sham elections.
Yes, correct.
At the rate we are going, the elections will be sham. You heard Mr. Hichilema declare publicly that if it wasn't for Bill 7, they were going to lose the elections. Unsolicited. There was no journalist who forced him to make that statement. He made it on his own. We were saying as a nation, many people in the country were saying Bill 7 is about the 2026 elections. People were denying that. Even himself was denying that. But now he's saying it unsolicited. So if Bill 7 is about him winning the elections, if without Bill 7 he was going to lose the elections, what has he done?
Yes.
What have they done to make them win with Bill 7? And indeed, if he's not lying, there are some mechanisms that they have put in place that will enable them to win, that will disadvantage their competitors. So the status quo as it stood before Bill 7 was not favorable to them winning. They were going to lose. So what is it that he has done in Bill 7 that will make him win? Again, we can see that there is an attempt to ensure that there is no contest. We have applied 34 times as at 2 weeks ago, 34 times to have a rally in Zambia. Since 2021, we have never been allowed to have a single rally. They are finishing their term of office without the Socialist Party ever being given a chance to hold a rally. And it's not just rallies, even just small meetings. They are going after you. How do you mobilize as a political party? How do you communicate? You can't even have meetings with your own structures. There are 1,850 something wards in Zambia today. Our people need to get into these wards. How many applications would we get which are not being granted? There are 156 constituencies before they are increased. How many permits do you need to get? We have never gotten a permit anywhere. The freedom of association, the freedom of...
Socialist Party President Dr. Fred Membe summarizes what is likely going to happen with our general elections. He says it will be a sham. On 31st January 2026, Brown Kasaro from the ECZ issued a notice to political parties that to avoid identifying the chaos of the owner of the political party, they would require that presidential candidates are registered at the Registrar of Societies. Now, this is a new phenomenon. The people you submit to the Registrar of Societies are usually mere custodians of the party, trustees. They don't necessarily have to be office holders of the party. Here, Brown Kasaro at ECZ is making it mandatory that the office holders in a political party must also be registered office bearers. The office bearers historically have been mere trustees. Some have appeared on the register and are office holders. Some may be office holders but not appearing on the register. This has changed. Kasaro's submission was followed up by the proposed amendments in the Electoral Process Act of 2026. This is where they have started to manipulate the results. There is another thing that is in the Electoral Process Act of 2026, an amendment that only a certificate signed by the Secretary General who is validly registered at the Registrar of Societies will be accepted at the ECZ. Another dangerous clause. And we have seen how political parties are being compromised, how their officials are being compromised. KBF says President Hakainde Hichilema is implementing the Tanzanian formula. This formula was very systematic in repression of political opponents and rivals, rivals were arrested, were abducted, and they suffered political exclusion. This was to guarantee President Hassan's re-election, because there's a history in Tanzania. In 2015, 10 years ago, the party for the first time in 60 years performed so poorly. In fact, the fortunes were only restored when John Magufuli Pombe was elected and he conducted those developmental initiatives. So to be very careful, the president of Tanzania didn't take chances. She banned the largest opposition party, Chadema, and they were excluded from participating parliamentary council and presidential. Totally banned the largest political party, which had garnered about 40% votes in the 2021 and 2015 elections. Other political parties suffered the same thing, and the election literally ended up to be a sham. Where are we right now? Topic today was that there is some activities happening that the opposition must take interest immediately. There is an attempt to ensure that there will be no presidential candidates that will be independent. Remember the amendment that occurred in 2016. Many people see that there's an opportunity for individuals to participate in these presidential elections as independents. And we understand that between the chief registrar of societies and ECZ, they will use administrative issues to bar the independent, those that are intending to participate as independent candidates. What are those issues? There, in Article 35 of our Constitution, it provides for who can be president of our country. You should be, the age of 35, you should pay your taxes, both national and local. But there are other clauses, such as you should be a Zambian by birth or descent. How does ECZ verify that you are a Zambian by birth or by descent? They are incapable of verifying that. That question is thrown to the system to establish. The system says they need minimum 30 days. They need to verify that you are not a criminal, or if you've been indicted, you've never had an imprisonment. Is it more than 6 months? So how does the system verify that? First, to clear your fingerprints, they also have to search court records for both that you've never been imprisoned for more than 6 months. And also there is another qualification, the issue of bankruptcy, that you've never been declared bankrupt. They have to search the records in Ndola, Livingstone, Kitwe, Lusaka, Chipata, wherever. You can see where it is going, Imingalato. These processes may be used to exclude independent candidates. Why are we alarming you? Why are we alarming the country? Is that the independent candidates that wish to participate, they've been deplatformed for one reason or another. I gave an example. NCP, they went to Congress. A gentleman emerged and said, no, I've changed the records and I've fired Pastor Peter Chanda. Dr. Sebastian Copeland has suffered the same fate. John Sangwa is struggling to register his own political party. And they are saying it's late in the day. The amendments that were done at FDD have not been implemented, meaning their presidential candidate may be disadvantaged. With all these things that are happening, our core, you have seen what has happened at the Zambia we want, where the national leadership have been ousted. The presidential candidate, Engineer Kapembwa Simbawa, has been removed. The national chairperson, Auxilia Wupe Ponga, Sister Auxilia Wupe Ponga, has been removed. The Secretary General, Mohabi Lungu, has been instrumental in not just only creating this political party, establishing it and ensuring that it runs, has also been removed. In their party constitution, there is no provision that the three can be removed, recalled, or terminated under the manner they've been removed. But who will hear this? You know the story of the Patriotic Front. If we have to have democratic, credible, and transparent, free and fair elections, we have to look at this and we have to act continuously, very alert, an alert citizenry, an alert stakeholders. ECZ and the Registrar of Societies will use the law. They will say, you can't blame us, it is the law. They will tell you, these are regulations, just follow them. So where is LAS? Where is the Oasis Forum? Where are these bodies to speak for these political parties? And these activities that are determined and designed to disenfranchise citizens that wish to participate in the presidency. For those that are already registered and are appearing on the Registrar of Society, it is still not safe, as we have seen in the case of the Zambia We Want, as we have seen in the case of NCP. You cannot sit comfortable that we appear on the register, because as we have seen the tricks, they can raise sometimes even strangers, as in the case of NCP, to come and deplatform the legitimate holders. And we saw that even in the PF. So, ladies and gentlemen, that was the purpose of our discussion. You are angry with my guest. You need to raise your level of tolerance like mine. I know we are not playing. I know we are not bringing guests to annoy you, but you have to. I brought a wonderful, well-informed guest last week, and the viewers were very excited with her until she said, you have to allow Hakainde Hichilema to take a second term. Oh my God, all the phones started ringing. We want to Akwalesa, let's have some tolerance. Pantwa UPND, or those that that hold a different opinion from mine or yours, then will not come to this platform. Let's allow the platform for debate. You express your anger, but allow them to come on this debate. So God bless you, and shalom, shalom.
The first caller, I think it was Peter, who mentioned the electoral process.
That's right.
Are you worried about the electoral process? Do you also think that it will be a free and fair election?
We are likely to have sham elections.
Yes, correct.
At the rate we are going, the elections will be sham. You heard Mr. Hichilema declare publicly that if it wasn't for Bill 7, they were going to lose the elections. Unsolicited. There was no journalist who forced him to make that statement. He made it on his own. We were saying, as a nation, many people in the country were saying Bill 7 is about the 2026 elections. People were denying that. Even himself was denying that. But now he's saying it unsolicited. So if Bill 7 is about him winning the elections, if without Bill 7 he was going to lose the elections, what has he done?
Yes.
What have they done to make them win with Bill 7? And indeed, if he's not lying, there are some mechanisms that they have put in place that will enable them to win, that will disadvantage their competitors. So the status quo as it stood before Bill 7 was not favorable to them winning. They were going to lose. So what is it that he has done in Bill 7 that will make him win? Again, we can see that there is an attempt to ensure that there is no contest. We have applied 34 times as at 2 weeks ago, 34 times to have a rally in Zambia since 2021.
Kwenyu ndemwe chawe mabanja ona njala mkomo ndalama zonse mutumbalano masukwa kuchuluka pa mutupatu. Time is up, time is up. Kwenyu not enough. Time is up. For your lies and bluff. Time is up, time is up. Kwenyu not enough. Time is up. For your lies and bluff. Kani zanu ndizo panda pindu, anakulira miseu mwatu, tikufuna chilengede chato pano. Osati mapoke tanu opindika ndalama. Listen to the cries, they're louder than your lies. You can't silence the truth. It's time for the youth. Time is up, time is up. When is not enough. Time is